So Gemini 3 came out this week. Should you switch? It's the big new model. And I'm going to tell you what models I use and why you should not be switching unless you already, if you're using Gemini, stick with Gemini. Probably shouldn't switch. Oh, and look, check out this new lavalier mic I got. Hopefully that will make the sound better. I've already lost the clip for it. So this is a binder clip. It's got a little magnetic thing, so hopefully it'll work. Anyway, so I use all the AI models because I write about AI. And I will use them for background research to find original sources. I will use them to like a fancy spell check. For example, I had a story about quantum computing where instead of the word photon, I used the word proton. And it was out there for like a year. Nobody caught it until my brother called me up and said, "Hey, I was just reading this article and you said this interesting thing about protons." I was like, "What? No, I didn't." Turns out there was a typo in there and nobody caught for a year. I put the story through an AI, I think Claude, and Claude picked it up right away. And a spell checker wouldn't have caught it because the photon and proton, they were both spelled correctly, but they were both like used grammatically, but one made no sense in the context. And so AI caught it. So that's a great way of using AI. If you need help with organizing your thoughts, so you dictated a whole bunch of stuff while driving in your car, like I do, you can take the transcript and have AI turn it into something more or less coherent that then you can use as a launching point to do other stuff. You can use it as a coach, you can use it as a marketing assistant, all the things that you do with AI. I would say whatever AI you're using, stick with that AI because they keep leapfrogging each other. So the big ones are ChatGPT, obviously, in its various incarnations, because it's embedded in a lot of stuff, like Microsoft Copilot is ChatGPT. Then there's Claude, which is the only one I pay money for. There's Google Gemini. There's Elon Musk's Grok. There's a whole bunch of ones from smaller organizations. Meta has an open source one called Llama. There's like a ton of them. The big three are Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude. And right now, Gemini is in the lead because it leapfrogged the other two. And if you wait a couple of months, one of the other ones will leapfrog the other two. And if you wait a couple more months, one of the other ones will leapfrog the other two. The other way people choose a model is based on the feature set. And again, whenever any one of them comes up with a new feature, like memories, they all quickly, match it. So instead of switching models and like spending time learning like the ins and outs of the new system, just stick with one and let it catch up if somebody else comes out with something newer. By the time you learn the new thing on the new platform, your old one would have caught up. So unless the platform you pick starts falling behind, falling behind, and falling behind, and no longer meets your needs, stick with the one you've got. So I've been sticking with Claude for over a year now. I like its conversational style. So that's the one I use. I would recommend having at least one paid one because it gives you that extra functionality. It gives you more memory, it gives you projects, better organization, all that kind of stuff. So Google Gemini also gives you more integration with the Google Docs and Gmail and that category of things. Microsoft Copilot gives you access to all the Microsoft stuff that they've got going on. Claude gives you really good coding and a really nice kind of writing voice. So they all have their benefits. And if you pay for the premium version, you get more uses of it. You get to ask more questions, and you get to save more stuff and get access to better features. So if you are somebody whose job is going to be affected by AI somehow, some way, and you want to be staying on top of it, then um, use the free stuff for when you need it, and then have like one paid one that you use for your core AI stuff, like organizing dictated notes, like doing deep background research. Just remember to double check all the things that it gives you. Go to the original sources, make sure it found the correct stuff. But it's like a kind of like a bad intern. And sometimes you're like, oh, this will be much faster if I just do it myself. But if you let the intern practice a little bit, they get better. And it's the same thing with AI. The first few times you use it, it will be faster to do it yourself. But over time, you will figure out how it's working. It will figure out what you want, and it's going to get more useful and better. And the longer you wait to get started, the further behind you're going to fall, and the harder it will be to catch up. So if you're in a line of work where this will be useful to you, um, or where the work itself will be transformed, it's a good idea to start working on it. And uh, and also sometimes the AI is right there, so you might as well use it. So for example, Google Gemini is now built into Chrome. So if you use the Chrome browser, there's a Gemini button right there. You can click it and it will talk to you about whatever's on your page. So for example, I recently had to move some investments around because I wanted to put more money into my SEP IRA. And I was looking at my brokerage screen and I had no idea what was going on. Clicked on Gemini and I said, explain this to me. And it explained everything to me. And I said, okay, which button do I click? Which option do I choose here? And it just explained everything to me in plain English. And I went through and I just did everything and it worked. So if it tells you something that doesn't make sense, then double check it. But for low risk stuff like that, where you just want like an explanation of what the words mean and how to do stuff, basic stuff, it's super useful. It's really good. So Gemini's right there. It can help you navigate websites. It can help you understand what you're looking at, all that kind of thing. So I use it because it's right there. Same thing for the Google Assistant on my phone. I like to be able to say, okay, Google, do this for me, and I'll just do it. Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud because now it's trying to talk to me on my phone over there. So that's super useful. That's built into the phone. Might as well use it. Um, the same thing if you're in Microsoft Office or you have a Windows machine. Copilot's built into it. It's convenient. Might as well use it. If you're doing deep online research, I will often use like 3 or 4 different AIs. I will ask ChatGPT to find stuff. I will ask Perplexity AI to find stuff. I'll ask Claude to find stuff. I'll use Google to find stuff. And of course, Google has an AI mode, and that's powered by Gemini. So I'll use that to find stuff. And sometimes, like, one of them will find a new document or new research report that I haven't seen yet. And it's cool. And I just copy and paste the same prompt into all 4 of them, let them go, come back, see what they found. So yeah, so I don't use them for the summaries of research. I use them to find the original research reports. Yeah, so don't chase the latest model. It's a fool's game. You're always going to be switching back and forth. I stay on top of the AI news because I need to for my work. So I get all these announcements, and I get all the YouTube channels that compare and contrast all the different models and who's ahead, who's behind. But you don't need to do any of that. I would say if this was important to you and you needed to stay on top of AI, but you don't want to spend a lot of time at it. It's not your top priority. Maybe you just want to spend half an hour on it a week. or 15 minutes while you're biking or on a treadmill or something like that, or while driving somewhere, pick a podcast that does a nice summary and just add it to your playlist. So there's a few YouTube channels I like. I like MattVid Pro. I like Tim Berman and Matt Wolf, Dylan Curious. There's a couple of other ones. Find out which one you like that kind of fits your vibe, and then use them for like a quick overview. And I'd like to be that person. I'd like to be that person that you would use for a quick overview too. So this week, basically, I'll give you the overview. Gemini 3 came out. It leapfrogged the other models, but not in any way that substantially would make anybody like throw away everything else and just use Gemini. I'm not going to do that, and there'll be too much work to do that. Nano Banana Pro came out, which is an image generator that's slightly better than the old ones, but it costs money, and don't worry about it. Just wait for the features to be added to whatever image generator you're already using. I still recommend Adobe Firefly as an image generator because it's only trained on licensed images and it pays artists, and it's almost as good as the other ones. And if you wait a month, it'll have caught up. Of course, the other ones will get better, but the image generators are kind of leveling off. They're all pretty decent, and they all have their quirks. And so I just use Adobe Firefly. The basic plan is free. Why not use it? And that's true for most image generators. So Nano Banana from Google basically is part of Google Gemini. It has free plan. ChatGPT will give you free images. You don't need to pay for it unless you're in the image generating business, like you're making marketing images and you need a lot of like background photos. So you have a lot of website content you create and you need a lot of like staff illustrations. Then the sites are great for that. And for those, again, I recommend switching to a paid version of Adobe Firefly because it's licensed and it pays creators. So you're not going to have any worries about being sued for copyright infringement. So yeah, and they indemnify business customers, which is also nice against any potential lawsuit. I wish there was something similar for text. It would be really, really nice if there was a model that was only trained on licensed data and that compensated content creators. So the big models kind of do that. So, for example, OpenAI's ChatGPT has licensing deals with a bunch of companies where they get their content for training data and they pay the money. So, kind of like that, but they're also a bunch of there's no like perfectly clean text model yet. There's some open source ones, but nothing like commercially available like Adobe Firefly. So it's really nice on the image side that something like that is available. I would like to see something similar on the text side because I'm sure there's a lot of writers out there who would like to have a clean, ethical model to use because it is useful. It is very useful. It's useful for research. It's useful for organizing notes. It's useful as a coach, as like, okay, I'm frustrated. I don't know what to do next. Talk me through it. Ask me questions. Right? And it's great for that. So I would like to see something like that. Yeah. So that's my thinking today. That's what I'm thinking about. And you know what? If you have any questions, leave me comments. My email address is also in the description. Feel free to contact me. I'm trying to like be more human and make human connections and stuff, not just like hide behind my byline on articles where I'm not really in contact directly with anybody who's reading my stuff. So take advantage of that until I get like rich and famous and talk to anybody. Uh, I'm in a like niche area, so I don't think it's gonna happen. Uh, have a great weekend, everybody.